This 49ers team has a way of defying the odds, of reversing the narratives, and they're just doing it time and time again, and they've done it again today. We're going to talk about that and so much more. Lots of positive updates for all of you 49ers fans out there. Hit subscribe if you're looking for 49ers content, by the way. You click the video, tells me you might like a little bit of 49ers things here and there. And look, let's just jump straight into it, all right? We're going to start off because we're talking about narrative, reversing, and stuff like that. I want to throw one out there for you. I want to empathize a little bit with an individual we're going to be talking about today. And so in order to do that, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Who is a player, or what does it take that you just got wrong? Like, you were just wrong. Whoever it is, whatever it is, right? What comes to mind for me, Jacob Cowing, I was wrong, apparently. We'll see. Maybe injury stuff, gets bright for him, and all of a sudden I feel better about it. Right now, I feel wrong. Isaac Guerrero on the screen right here, I'm wrong. I've been wrong about the guy. I believed that his sophomore year, he would step up and be valuable. And I get it. Like Brian Robinson Jr. coming in, that was sort of a bit of a wild card, gives me a little bit of grace to myself, I suppose. But when I look at what I thought this guy was going to produce after what we saw when given the opportunity last season, it took him a little bit of while to get his feet under him. But once he did, my word, an impressive individual. And you look at his size, 220, runs a 4.3 40. Like, I just thought this guy's going to be really good. This guy's going to be really good. And unfortunately, the narrative that followed him through college from injury kind of followed him into the NFL, and he has still struggled with injury. That being said, he's gone several games now without any injuries this season. Quite a few games, actually, he's put together, but he's not really carrying the rock or doing a whole lot on special teams either. That's pretty much all he's doing is special teams right now. So I guess that is what it is. That's a guy that I got wrong. I thought he was going to be more valuable, and maybe someday I'll feel right about it, but right now, wrong. Another wrong, Cam Latu. Wrong about him too. Man, a lot of guys out there, when you think about it. But it makes me feel better because the 49ers have been wrong about a lot of guys. So, it is what it is. I'm in good company, I suppose. Let's talk about a guy named Brock Purdy. Brian Baldinger weighed in on Brock Purdy. Now, this is to set up the big reverse narrative, okay? So this is not the big reverse, although I will say Brian Baldinger, when he was talking about Mac Jones, he kind of was on the go with the hot hand train, all right? I'm keeping receipts over here, and I remember him being a big fan of just sticking with Brock Purdy. Sticking with Mac Jones. Here's what he had to say about Brock Purdy, though, after the game against the Cardinals. Rust? What kind of rust? There was no rust. He was amazing. The way he saw the field, his eyes, his touch, everything was there, like he never went away. It was like he was there for the first 10 weeks of the season. It was amazing to watch. High praise from a guy who watches film more than you or I could dream of. That is crazy coming from Brian Baldinger, but not entirely surprising because we have heard him say great things about Brock Purdy in the past. What's more surprising, however, is another guy. Based on the things he said about Brock Purdy in the past, Colin Cowherd has completely reversed his take. I want you to give this a listen. This is wild. This is Colin Cowherd on going back on what he has said in the past about Brock Purdy. Here's what he had to say.
Where Colin was wrong.
Maybe I'm a little tough on Brock Purdy. I thought he was great yesterday. Having not played for a couple of months, he and George Kittle are money together. When they connect, Kittle and Brock Purdy have a 141 career passer rating. Yesterday, 3 touchdowns, accurate. They're able to move the pocket, good in the red zone. Listen, he adds mobility. I'm kind of tough on him, but I thought yesterday he kind of blew me away.
He admits he's been tough on Brock Purdy. He admits that Brock Purdy was great. This was recorded yesterday. I'm getting it now, so it's 2 days off, so it's not yesterday anymore. But that is crazy, you guys. Like Colin Cowherd's, he's reversed his opinion on the 49ers twice this season now. The first one kind of on what Kyle Shanahan is capable of doing with this team all banged up. The second one now on Brock Purdy. And I just got to say it, like, dude, if you're turning a doubter like Colin Cowherd into a believer, a guy who is critical of the 49ers every which way he can possibly imagine, that you've done something right there. You've done something right. I think that's high praise coming from a guy like Colin Cowherd, who would jump on the opportunity. If Brock Purdy made one mistake yesterday or Sunday, like threw one pick or fumbled the ball or whatever, like he would. I don't believe he would be saying what he said right there. So that's special, man. And I think there is something about watching Mac Jones every single week, getting comfortable watching Mac Jones, and then seeing Brock Purdy again and remembering a little bit of like, oh wow, yeah. I kind of forgot a little bit on some of this stuff, that recency bias a little bit maybe. And that pass to George Kittle was a pass for Brock. That was a kind of the moment that he kind of felt like, all right, we're back. That was the pass for Kittle that helped him feel like, oh yeah, we're back. And that was the pass, I think, for most of us that felt like that's what I told my brother-in-law when he asked about it. Like, he's back. That pass to George Kittle was just so perfect. It was such a 49ers play. It was such a Brock Purdy throw. It just, everything felt so familiar about that play, which, by the way, was a brilliant play design. You had Christian McCaffrey on single coverage and on the other side of the field. It was such a good play. It was so well executed. Brock Purdy, he played really well. And one guy that he didn't throw to a whole lot was a guy named Ricky Pearsall. This was a guy that coming into this game has been out for several weeks. And the impact he had on the field had very little to do with catching footballs and running and yak and any of that stuff. But the impact should not be understated. Here is what Brian Baldinger had to say this morning about Ricky Pearsall and his impact on the game against the Cardinals.
So to that point, Joe, they ran a route the other day where McCaffrey was out wide. He ended up stacking with Juwan Jennings and Pearsall. And as they broke, it was literally like they all broke in line together and they attacked. And Pearsall was the deep guy. And he did. He took Buddha. He took two guys with him. And it opened up the window for Jennings. And, Brock read it perfectly. And it was a huge window because they kind of squatted on McCaffrey underneath. So it's a classic flood route, situation. And I thought that Pearsall, the way he ran that route, you might not get the ball. It's you probably aren't if two guys are going with, but you got to run it. You really got to, get your jets going and open that window up. And he did that. He did that a couple of times. And so I thought just seeing him out there, for a second, Joe, honestly, I'm like, who the hell is number one? Is that Debo? Like I had to think because we haven't seen him right in forever, and it kind of like, okay, no, they're getting their guys back here. Pearsall's out there, so you saw pretty early on that he didn't get a lot of targets, but I thought he did a lot in the passing game.
So on that, by the way, I looked up my notes as he was talking there. I believe that is the 3rd and 8 in the second drive of the game, the first real drive for the 49ers offense. The second offensive drive, though, for the 49ers, technically speaking. And that's a 3rd and 8 play. It's the one you would have remembered it. A 3rd and long. You're like, oh, boy, here we go. So the first one, right? So it's a 1st and 10. Christian McCaffrey goes for, negligible yards, 2 yards, I guess. 2nd and 8. Pass goes incomplete, and you're like, oh, boy, here we go. It's about to happen. Is it going to happen? Is Brock Purdy going to figure this out? And 3rd and Juwan comes alive. That was the play I believe he's talking about. That's a 25-yard play to Juwan Jennings for a first down on 3rd and 8. If I've tracked all that correctly, that was live tracking during the game. I have not gone back and checked it or anything like that. So, anywho, that was a big moment. That was a big moment that I believe he's talking about there. And there were many plays like that where Ricky Pearsall opened things up in ways that we didn't have before. They know why, because boy, they had a problem dealing with Ricky Pearsall when we played them earlier this season. He was enlightening. So that's where I'm at on that. You let me know what you think in the comments, but I thought he played really, really well. One little bonus thing here. This is kind of outside of the norm of this video, or outside of the frame of this video, if you will. Brian Baldinger said something that I thought, boy, we probably aren't going to talk about what Brian Baldinger said anymore this week. Just typically that doesn't happen. And I can't listen to this and not show you guys. I can't play this. I can't not play this for you guys because it's so spot on. And nobody's going to tell you this. Nobody else is going to say this. And nobody, to be fair, really has the credibility to say this. But a guy like Brian Baldinger can talk about this defense in a way that only he can, as a guy who watches film nonstop, constantly, all the time. As fans, we watched this defense give up a lot of yardage. A lot of it was in garbage time, but we watched them give up a lot of yardage through the air. We watched multiple wide receivers down, and they still managed to move the ball through the air very easily against us. So, I didn't feel super great about our defense on Sunday. Like, I'm assuming most of us didn't feel super great about our defense on Sunday. But there is something. There is something. And I gotta play this. Listen to what Brian Baldinger had to say about the 49ers defense.
I'll give you an example of what you're talking about. So there's only one Fred Warner in this whole league. Like, I still get emotional just talking the fact that Fred's not out there. But here comes Taylor Bethune, all right?
Tatum.
Really good player, playing great football, gets hurt. Curtis Robinson comes in. Like, he pops that ball loose, him and Upton Stout, at the goal line. And there's Keon White, like, doing what he's supposed to do. Go chase the ball, get to the ball. And he gets to the ball, and they recover it at the 3-yard line. Like, you're seeing guys take advantage of their opportunities right now. And that's coaching. And that's preparation. I guess if I had to, it's 11 weeks and nothing has been accomplished yet. But it is really hard not to look at what Robert Saleh is doing to this defense right now. It's amazing what he's done. And he was the one that probably went to bat for Bryce Huff. Keon White fits in with how they play. To see Alfred Collins play like he did and CJ West and these young kids, like, just scrapping. I mean, I can't say that they're uber talented or they even know what the hell they're doing. They're scrappy as hell, though. Like, they're jumping over piles. They're getting off blocks. They're chasing to the football. It's fun to watch them play defense because that's not a terrible offensive team. I know Marvin Harrison wasn't out there and the running backs, but still, like, they shut them down. And so it's fun watching a lot of these kids that people probably don't even know, what the name on the back of the jersey is, but to watch them go play, it's pretty impressive.
So
that blocked point after attempt that still went in, just tipped, I guess. Maybe blocked is the wrong word. But it just feels like Alfred Collins is, like, kind of quietly really finding his feet. He's really starting to find his feet. But yeah, credit to Robert Saleh for everything that he has done with this defense up against it all season long. I mean, from the very beginning of the season, just up against it every single week. And, you still don't have Yetur Gross-Matos. Of course, obviously, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Mykel Williams, like, those are obviouses. But you've also had guys like Kalia Davis. You've got a lot of guys, other guys, Jordan Elliott, other guys going down too. Like, we look at the big name guys, but this defense has had to do a lot without a lot of guys. Malik Mustafa for the beginning of the season, no training camp for him. Like, there's been a lot that this team has had to work through. And without a guy like Robert Saleh, I don't think we are where I guarantee we're not where we are today. And that's no offense to Nick Sorensen, but just not good enough. Not good enough. And for what he's getting out of this team, despite everything, look, it's probably not our Super Bowl year or anything like that. Everything's possible, but it's probably not in the cards. But I'll tell you, man, this team is pretty impressive with what they're able to do with what they have. And you got to give some massive credit to that, no doubt. So Baldy's absolutely right. 6 days away from the Panthers at home. Massive game. Monday Night Football under the floodlights. It's going to be massive in the sense that the 49ers, gain a lot from winning this game. And I'm looking forward to them doing it. Look forward to talking to you about it every single step of the way, before, during, and after. Appreciate you guys and hope you guys have a fantastic Tuesday night.